Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. I am so incredibly glad you're here with us today because we're going to tackle something I know so many of you struggle with. Let me guess, you know the grammar rules, right? You've got a solid vocabulary and you can read English perfectly well. But the second you actually have to open your mouth and speak, everything just freezes. If that sounds familiar, I want to completely validate exactly where you are right now. You aren't failing, you're just using the wrong internal architecture. Today, think of me as your supportive language coach. I'm going to share one of the absolute biggest secrets of fluent English speakers, and we're going to completely rewire how you approach the language.
So, let's start right at the root of the problem. Why do you feel so incredibly nervous, and maybe a bit slow, when you're trying to speak English? Well, the answer is mental lag. Right now, you're probably trapped in what we call the translation cycle. You have a thought in your native language, you pause, you mentally translate that entire sentence into English, and then, finally, you speak. This three-step process, it takes up way too much cognitive processing time. It creates hesitation, it makes you stumble, and honestly, that hesitation just breeds fear. If you want to speak English naturally and confidently, we have to eliminate that middle step entirely. You literally must train your brain to think directly in English.
Section 1. The secret to fluency. The child's way. Okay, let's dive into this.
The adult method of learning is just exhausting. You see an object, you name it in your native language, you actively search your brain for the English translation, and then you speak. But think about a child learning their very first language. A child doesn't have a baseline language to translate from. A child sees a round, bouncy object and simply thinks, ball. They see the liquid in a glass and think, water. It's a direct, immediate cognitive link between the object and the word. And you know what? This simple shift in how you process the world around you is exactly how you're going to break your translation habit forever.
Section 2. Narrating your morning routine.
Now you might be thinking, okay, that sounds great in theory, but how do I actually start doing this as an adult? We use a method called scaffolding. Basically, we're going to start in the absolute simplest, lowest pressure environment possible, your own bedroom. To start scaffolding this habit, I want you to mentally try this on with me right now. Tomorrow morning, the very second you open your eyes, do not let your native language enter your brain. Instead, think directly in English. I am awake. It is morning. I need to get out of bed. When you go to the bathroom to brush your teeth, look at the sink and think, I am brushing my teeth. The water is cold. I am getting ready for the day. You're just narrating exactly what's happening right in front of you. There's no pressure, there's no audience, it's just you and your thoughts.
So the absolutely crucial point here is this. Fluent English begins with simple thoughts. Please do not make the mistake of trying to construct complex, academic sentences in your head right out of the gate. That's only going to frustrate you. When you're eating breakfast, simply think, I am hungry, or this food looks delicious, or I am drinking tea. Start small. These very basic, fundamental thoughts are exactly what will slowly train your brain to start generating English naturally, completely without effort.
Section 3. When you forget a word. As you start doing this throughout your day, maybe you're on your commute thinking, the weather is nice today, or traffic is heavy, you're inevitably going to hit a roadblock. You're going to forget a word. And let's be real, this is the biggest source of speaking anxiety for learners. Your mind goes completely blank, panic sets in, and boom, you revert right back to translating. But we're going to fix that. Let's say you're in your kitchen and you completely forget the word for refrigerator. The absolute worst thing you can do is stop your English thought process to go search for the translation. Instead, use simpler English to describe what it does. Just think to yourself, the place where I keep food. And this brilliantly illustrates how you keep the momentum going. You stayed in English.
Let's look at another quick example. You're walking outside, it starts pouring rain, and you cannot remember the word umbrella. No way, don't freeze. Pivot. Just describe its function, the thing I use when it rains. Believe it or not, native speakers actually do this all the time when a word slips their mind. They don't panic. They just describe around the missing word. Never stop thinking in English just because you're missing one tiny piece of the puzzle.
I really want you to take this quote to heart. The goal is communication, not perfection. If you can describe what a refrigerator or an umbrella does, you are communicating successfully. Do not worry about minor grammar mistakes in your head, and definitely don't worry about having the vocabulary of a university professor. Perfection comes much, much later. Building the core habit of thinking in English, that absolutely has to come first.
Section 4. Connecting through daily emotions.
Once you're comfortable describing the physical objects around you, your morning routine, your commute, your breakfast, it's time to shift inward. We're going to start describing your internal feelings. Throughout your day, I want you to do little emotional check-ins, entirely in English. Just think to yourself, I am happy today, or if it's been a long day, I feel tired. Maybe you're looking forward to the weekend. I am excited about my future. Or simply, I need some rest. When you begin describing your internal, deeply personal emotions in English, you stop treating it like some academic subject. You develop a genuine emotional connection with the language. It truly becomes a part of who you are.
Section 5. Storytelling in the park.
So once you've mastered your routine, your physical surroundings, and your internal emotions, you are ready for the final, most advanced observation exercise. We're going to start externalizing the language by narrating the complex world around you. I want you to visualize this with me for a second. Imagine you are walking in a beautiful, calm park. It's a gorgeous day. You are completely alone with your thoughts, so there is absolutely no one judging you. It's just you observing the world and practicing your fluency in a totally safe space.
As you look around this park, you start stringing thoughts together. The weather is beautiful today. The trees are green. Children are playing happily. People are walking their dogs. The air feels fresh. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that by stacking these simple observations together, you're no longer just practicing vocabulary. You are actually creating a complete story in your mind, entirely in English. This is exactly, step by step, how true, effortless fluency develops. Section 6. Your daily fluency affirmations. As we reach the end of this explainer, I need to remind you that simply knowing how to do this isn't quite enough. You have to build the daily habit, and that requires the right mindset. So we're going to look at some fluency affirmations that I really want you to internalize. First and foremost, I do not fear mistakes. Say it to yourself and actually believe it. Memorizing thousands of grammar rules will never make you fluent. What makes you fluent is using English fearlessly, every single day in your thoughts and daily activities. Mistakes are just proof that you're trying and that you're communicating. Embrace them. Next up, I trust the learning process. Look, your brain has spent years, maybe decades, relying on translation. It's going to feel a little strange at first to force it to think directly in English, but trust the process. If you practice narrating your morning routine, describing your emotions, and storytelling in the park, your brain will slowly stop translating and it will naturally start generating English entirely on its own. It just takes a little bit of time and consistency.
And finally, English is becoming natural for me. I absolutely promise you, if you commit to this scaffolding method, the day you stop translating is the day your speaking speed and your confidence will increase dramatically. It'll honestly feel like a heavy weight has been lifted right off your shoulders and the words will just flow.
So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative question. How many minutes will you commit to thinking in English today? Seriously, don't overwhelm yourself. Start with just 5 minutes today. Maybe do it during your morning coffee. Then try 10 minutes tomorrow, then 15 the next day. Gradually build it up until English becomes a natural, inseparable part of your daily thinking process. You have all the tools you need right now. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and I know your fluency journey is going to become so much easier and more enjoyable. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today, and happy learning.